this week. This is a Frank podcast.
This Warriors Life podcast 2026, episode 13. Will, Brad, and Fonz here with you on a Tuesday evening for another Team List Tuesday live episode on the back of an incredible, historic, drought-breaking win over Melbourne. I think everyone's still buzzing from that one. Brought to you by Kingz Container Crew, our wonderful supporters. For your container packing and unpacking solutions, head to kingzcontainercrew.com. And if you want to gig with those guys, hit the Work With Us tab, and you'll see Brad there looking resplendent in his KCC kit. That looks safe, it looks warm, but it looks stylish.
And you can go down or pop a collar and boom, up, just chilling. Or I'm stoked with this. This is comfy as. Cheers to the boys, and we'll catch up in Christchurch, Julo, and I'll have to sort you out with something out of my collection. This is dope. Cheers to the boys.
I'm waiting for mine to turn up, by the way. It hasn't quite got there yet. Also, PlaceMakers on with us in 2026. The New Zealand's experts in trade since 1981 and best trade range in the country. They're the know-how can-do people, aren't they, Brad?
They certainly are, Will.
We'll have another PlaceMakers Warriors legend for you a bit later in the episode. I think the Facebook live stream might be struggling with some technical hiccups. So
too many people trying to get through the door at once.
Yep. Yeah, the ticketing, the turnstiles have malfunctioned. Too many people. But welcome if you're watching on YouTube or listening later on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get us. Great to have you here, and chuck your comments in here if you're watching on YouTube. Brad and Fonz in behind that logo there. How you going?
Oh mate, I'm good. These are the weeks you live to be a Warriors fan, don't you? Like really. I mean, that's that performance, that result. I mean, this is why you do it. Really, let's be honest. This is as good as it gets, short of winning a comp, I reckon.
Couldn't agree more with that. I can't remember a watch where I've enjoyed a game so much as what I witnessed on the weekend. Just lackadaisical. I went to bed and watched it in bed on the old lappy at first, just taking it easy, and then got served up that. I couldn't sleep. I was up for about 2 hours watching that last 20 minutes over and over. Brilliant. Yeah. God, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one that we've been waiting for. 11 years in the making. So many near misses and even more thrashings. A rivalry that's brought a lot of pain, and it almost seems surreal the way that they did it. It was a pretty hectic first half, and gave up a 2-try lead. Hit the lead again before halftime. I was feeling a little shaky at halftime, to be honest. I wasn't that confident. I felt like we could get sort of overrun, maybe. Just all the painful memories of AAMI Park for the last decade. But man, that second half was out of this world. 3 quick tries to really put the foot on the throat, and then was it four unanswered tries? 3 or 4 anyway. Just beat the hell out of them for the last scoreless 25 minutes with a series of ferocious hits and bullying and dominating the middle of the park, hiffing guys over the sideline, halves smashing props. It was just, it was poetry in motion. Absolutely loved it. We'll remember that one forever.
Oh, shit, yeah. I can't even think what I was going to say to that. That's what I was going to say. I heard, here's a yarn before we get too deep. At PlaceMakers, a guy told me the other day that it was a waning moon on Saturday in Melbourne, and the last time we beat them was a waning moon as well. But he couldn't tell me if we played them in any other waning moon. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it, but it seems pretty far fetched. But
did he tell you what a waning moon is?
Isn't that when it's half down like waning away in the sky, like
Yeah.
from vision. I think a half or just beyond half. That's what I'm guessing.
We'll have to ask NRL next year if we can play the Storm and a waning moon. That's our sole draw
That's
request.
Turns those boys into animals.
Yeah. Lay it on us, Fonz. How did we do it? What was that win built on?
All right, look, I mean, let's start with being honest, right? This was 50% us being unreal and 50% the Storm being in a deep dark hole. Okay?
Yeah,
like
they
can we agree that they are?
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah, because whereas I mean, this game kind of followed the pattern of a lot of our games against the Storm in past years, which is the first half's pretty nip and tuck, reasonably close at half time. Then the Storm usually accelerate away, right? Except this time we were the Storm. You know what I mean? Like we accelerated away from them. They got panicky. They started doing uncharacteristic things and all the rest of it. So they're in a hole. So like it's not the case that we beat the Storm of past years on the weekend, but we still beat the Storm, right? And we played bloody well doing it. So that's probably the first thing. The next thing is there was nothing amazingly skillful in what we did.
No.
If you look at our tries, first couple are just crash overs from back row or centre. Then you've got the bouncing ball on the ground involved in two other tries, creating uncertainty in defence and space. Jackson Ford crashing over, one out. I'm trying to think. What was the other try? I think that's all of them.
Yeah, from a bomb.
There was it.
The bomb. Yeah, which was nice. That was a nice try, right? But this was not amazing structure leading to slick shape on the edges, unpicking defenses. It was fundamentally a power game, right? Is what it was, and so we beat them really with just power, line speed, intent, intensity, and connection, all of those things. And that is similar to what we were doing the first few rounds as well. But this time I felt like the intensity and intent just went up a whole extra level, right? And we've got to ask ourselves, why is that? Is that just because it's Melbourne and there's a streak there, a hoodoo there that we wanted to break? Or is it because Chanel was back in the team and people wanted to have a big game for him? Because he clearly came out with the intent of he didn't care if he broke both shoulders, right? He was gonna come out and if he lost his second nut and broke a shoulder, it didn't matter. He was gonna do what he had to do to make that left edge a place that Melbourne didn't want to go, right? So when you've got the six who comes out and does that, all your forwards want to do that too, right? So you got to wonder about that. Tanner was good again, playing off the front foot from a pack that's going well. And look, I mean, I didn't think we were by any means, especially in that first half, like flawless. I mean, we had was it Clark who basically scored a really quite soft try with 3-4 blokes on him on that left edge there.
Clark,
right.
And then Niukore dropping off.
That was that the second one?
That was the first one. The second one was just allowing a few offloads consecutively and scoring out the other side. But they're pretty soft tries, so it was a bit concerning. But it was just
we were
an absolute shootout.
We were by no means clinical. You know what I mean? Like we were by no means really tight, clinical at all. We just ran harder, had better line speed, and belted the shit out. Right? Is the takeaway, as well as doing all the basic fundamentals, right, of getting to the right points on the field, getting your kick away, kick chase, all of that stuff. So, I mean, it was beautiful to watch because it was old school Warriors in a way, wasn't it? Really, like it was that it had that old school Warriors feel about it, but maybe a bit more control. And we should enjoy it. But then there's probably the question to think about is, can you do that for 20 more weeks? I don't know that you can, right? So that's probably the next thing to think about.
Yeah, we didn't blow them off the park. We drove them into the ground, didn't we?
Mate, Mate, we drove him 6 foot underground.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And me and Will have been talking previously to coming on today how none of our tries were anything flashy or tearing them apart. They were just more effort, just effort. The whole game was effort, I suppose. How Dimitri Vaimonga, when he's in that sort of mood, is there anyone better going around the comp than him? I know you get your highlights from Leka, but he does it for extended periods out there, doesn't he?
And he did everything. He didn't just do the big hits and the collisions. It was ball playing. There was
try assist. Yeah.
I mean, what do you reckon, Philip? Am I being a bit harsh saying we were not particularly, clinical or
no? It was
we
were very messy with the ball, I thought, and there's a couple of moments from Tane, obviously bombing that try. The game was probably in the bag by then, but still, you want to see those moments iced. The great save not long after that on the goal line to snaffle it out of Falongo's grasp and then passing it straight back to him. But the great thing was they defended those kind of setbacks, whereas those could have been 12-point turnarounds. They turned it into a positive where they just camped on their own line for 6 minutes and beat the hell out of the Storm. That was the period where Chanel absolutely smashed Josh King, and I loved that because he was pretty lippy from the outset, and Michael Ennis was frothing over how he was all fired up in the changing rooms beforehand and that sort of thing, and then obviously Roger smashing Warbrick, a bit of a symbolic moment there for Rog after a couple of tough weeks. His replacement sending him into the grandstand pretty much, and then just getting up, waving the finger. It was just awesome. Big sense of occasion. So I'd certainly take your point, Fonz. You can't be up like that for 20 straight weeks, but that they have that in them is really exciting, I think, going forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it. We've got that in us, right? Yeah. So if we can sort of save up the energy and bring that out in September and maybe into October, then that's going to scare the shit out of any other team. But between now and then, we do have to get more clinical and more get our shape a bit improved and all the rest of it, so that we're not relying on that level of intensity, because the boys, they'll all have broken shoulders by around 27 if they keep that up. So we got to work on playing a bit smarter, but keep that intensity, that mana, let's say, in there, ready to go for when we need it. But don't want to peak too early and go too hard.
The big question for me this week is, do you keep that same recipe out there on the paddock? Well, there's a couple available again. Haven't they caused some headaches this lot, what they done Saturday night?
And maybe a couple out by the sounds of it. Tanner Boyd and Tanner Stow-Smith both in doubt. So, more questions, I suppose. It'll be answered in about 15 minutes. But I did want to touch on
that. What are the? No, first I've heard of it. Is that just the murmurs at the moment?
Yeah, that's not like you, Brad. Usually, like all across the news.
That's why I'm so baffled here. I'm lost all of a sudden. Like, geez, I thought I had this under control.
See what
it's
happens.
only just back from Japan, but
it's a bit of jet lag going. Might quickly look at the Kingz Container Crew Warriors player ratings. Our top scorers in that were Chanel Harris-Davida. You got TWL MVP for the week. Dimitri Vaimonga, as you touched on, Brad, just an absolute beast all over the park. And he got 8.5 as well. He was our Kingz Container Crew king-sized performer of the week.
I didn't realise there was a couple of awards dished out.
Yeah, just a bit of a new thing I'm working out. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck also 8.5, and Wade Egan was really good, I thought. Best game. He absolutely outplayed Harry Grant and he got 8. So got 4 Dally M points. Jackson Ford got the maximum 6 again. He was good, played 80 minutes, but now I just feel like he's a bit of a Dally M darling, because I thought he was maybe 4th or 5th best on the field. I don't know. The Dally M's are really...
That number's crazy, though. 80 minutes is pretty loose to just keep chugging. I know he doesn't produce massive numbers, because comparatively to minutes played, but geez, what an engine on the dude. I don't mind points going to him.
Top run meters, top of the tackle count. Scored a try, albeit questionable. Great stuff. No real disappointing performances, I didn't think at all.
What was the lowest mark that got dished out?
A couple of the guys that maybe didn't get too many
yeah,
minutes off the bench. Sam Healy with the 5, but yeah, I mean, everyone contributed really well. Really satisfying to see that period when, you know, experienced forwards came off, Clark, Fisher Harris, and Niukore for Vaimonga, Stow Smith, and who else came on? Laban. And that's when we started dominating. That's when we, you know, held them scoreless for that period. And we went up a gear. It was great to see. Waz Up, good friend of the podcast, did some bit of analysis, and Sean Johnson touched on it on his show last night about our second rowers when it was Laban and Halasima jamming in or turning the inside shoulder and putting the pressure on Munster and Hughes, and that at time and again they were non-factors on the night. But have you ever seen Munster and Hughes look that lost against us?
No.
It was awesome, and it completely shut down their options and just made them look a shadow of themselves. You know, Harry Grant barely ran. Farlongo was shut down like we probably haven't seen this year. So yeah, the intensity was great, and attention to detail. So many changes, particularly across the back line, to produce that defensively was pretty awesome. But I guess the big question, and Brad just asked it, you know, what do they keep this lineup? The centres, and Lofi Khan-Pereira I thought came in, did a really good job on the wing.
How gutted were you when he got ankle tapped and you thought you were going to get him to see him straight out? You remember he tripped through that line? It was like, just get up, you bastard, and run. I thought that was going to be a first look at it as just pure speed. But what do you do? What do you do if chance is available? Fonz, what are you doing?
Well, I'll start with that slightly wet blanket opinion, which is you can't do that for the next 25, 30 weeks. Right? We have to actually play better than that to win a comp. So, because you can't bank on that energy being there, that intensity being there for 30 weeks. So there is some fine-tuning needed to the team, right? So anyone saying that team's going to win us a comp, we just keep doing what we did on the weekend, it's not, and I'm not saying anyone's saying that, but that is not going to do it. This team still needs fine-tuning, right? So I think there's absolutely still a conversation of who are our best centers and who are our best halves and fullback. And I think, you know, that still needs to be resolved. And I mean, I've got to say, the weekend,
the whole back line.
Well, yeah, I mean,
halves, the centers, which will probably affect the wings, and then the fullback.
Exactly.
There is not one spot that is settled, really.
No.
Apart from maybe Allen probably playing on the wing.
Yeah, and deserve it at the moment with his form.
Yeah, I mean, Dal right wing is pretty safe. Right center's up for grabs, probably. You know, the left side's completely up for grabs. So, I mean, where do you want to start, man?
Well, so we've got 12 minutes till Teamless Tuesday. So, who's your fullback? I know you're still a chance man. I like what we've seen from Tane generally. I think they'll probably go with Chance eventually. Is it? I don't see them going back with Chance as a centre after those couple of weeks. So I kind of feel like they're going to go back to CNK at fullback.
So for me, you choose your halves first and then your fullback in this squad. So I would have a different fullback depending on who you're going with the halves.
So who are your halves then?
Yeah, because I was going to say, if you go CNK, if you go if you go Chanel and Metcalf, I'm going Chance, right, on that configuration. If you go Tanner and Chanel, I'm going Tane. Topic as fullback.
Yeah.
If you're going Tanner and Metcalf, that's harder. I want to think about that. So, yeah. So let's talk about the halves. And so, just the reason for that is, I feel like like we were saying last year, Metcalf and Chanel are both kind of sixes. Sixes between them, maybe 6.5s. There's no out and out 7 there, and so a straight running fullback when you've got sort of two kind of threat halves makes more sense to me, and it helps with yardage, defense, all that stuff. Whereas if you go Tanner and Chanel, you got a 6.5 and a 7 there. So I feel like having that creativity at the back, the link player at the back makes more sense in that combination. So yeah, if we talk about halves, I mean, I'll ask you first, Brad. Who you got? I'll tell you who saw this clearest was old mate Jimmy Will. Week and a half ago, pretty humble bloke, but he was the only one on that podcast who straight out said, no, you got to have Chanel there because he's the guy who's going to lock up that edge. So yeah, I
like Chanel and Tanner. That is definitely my preference. And Metcalf, he's out for weeks. I think he needs to come back through via New South Wales Cup. He didn't do anything in the 2 rounds. He come get some confidence, and I would with that halves combo, I'd love to see a Metcalf at fullback behind those 2 in the halves. But that's just because my preference. I think form-wise, the sustainability of form's better more likely with Chanel and Tanner. I think they're more often than not going to give you a better performance, where Metcalf can be quite flighty, which when he's flighty, he can really affect players outside him.
So that's a massive call, but yeah, what do you reckon, Will?
No, it is. It is a massive call, but that's my preference just for security reasons.
I think, well, for me, Chanel it has to be the first pick, and then you decide who your 7 is. Boyd and Metcalf didn't work. It didn't get much of a chance to, I suppose. But yeah, Chanel just keeps on delivering. I think he's got, the best body of work, particularly compared to Metcalf. He's played 98 NRL games now to what Metcalf's 43. They're the same age. What he did coming in as a rookie, the COVID years, he was the only half in a revolving cast that stayed there from start to finish of the COVID years, lost a testicle during that time for the club, took a sabbatical, which would have been hard because the Warriors exploded in 2023, came back, he was down the pecking order, which was fair enough. Got his opportunity again last year, was a mainstay, led the team for try assists, scored 10 tries. I thought he was one of our best 3 or 4 players across the year. 3rd most games ever in the halves for the Warriors after the 2 SJs. So I think he just has to be there. Metcalf, I think we're still picking on potential, and he's just too brittle to be gambling with this, I think, outside premiership chance. Maybe he gets his opportunity through an injury or something and works his way back in and finds the sort of form that he had midway through last year before he got injured. But for now, I just think Chanel, if it has to be there. I'm not totally sold on Boyd, by the way. Like that, it's a fairly small sample size, I think, of Boyd playing really well. But yeah, for me, Chanel's proven himself and did it, off 4 weeks off pretty much. So yeah, he's there for me.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a game. His effort's never been down or lackluster, is it? Even in losing teams where we have a whinge and moan, he's always putting in that little bit more effort than anyone else in the field. So yeah, I think he's maybe earned it.
Yeah. Just that
skill level, Metcalf's probably a more skillful player. I don't know. Where you going then, Fonz? You sat there patiently waiting. What's your argument?
Well, I want to start by saying pre-season last year, I was one of the only people vocally saying Chanel should start at 6. And most people had a Tanner Boyd Metcalf starting 6-7 last year. And ultimately, I got that one right. And so I'm just saying that to say I've always been a big believer in Chanel. However, I don't I feel like at the moment people are just, I'm not saying you blokes, but people generally have been a bit knee-jerk around this. So Boyd has 3 good games, suddenly he's undroppable, right? Then Chanel, who apparently was fine to be dropped as far as most people were saying 2 weeks ago, has a barnstorming one-off game and suddenly he's undroppable, right? Meantime, we got the guy who was leading the Dally M's halfway through last year, albeit I think that was overblown, but leading the Dally M's, and no one was complaining when we signed him to a multi-year high-value deal, right? So I just feel like at the moment everyone's reacting a little bit too much to, recent performances and, making some big calls. So
I've been stunned by the way that the fan base has turned on Metcalf. It's like almost unanimous. It's totally knee jerk. I do feel sorry for him. Like he's come back from an ACL, played in 2 big losses, which weren't necessarily his fault, and now all of a sudden he's on the scrap heap. Certainly not saying that, and I can definitely get behind I can definitely get behind the Chanel Metcalf combo again.
Well, yeah, but let me. So I still think what I said last week, which is that I think the combo with the highest ceiling is Boyd 7, Metcalf 6.
Yeah, agree.
Do they have the highest ceiling in 2026 though, with Metcalf's injury problems and the amount of time it's going to take him?
Well, I've got to put injury to one side when I say that, because if a bloke's going to be injured, every second week, and the ceiling doesn't matter, right? Because you're never going to hit the ceiling. But so what I'm saying there is that's the highest ceiling. So if you tell me I'm going to have a fully fit spine to pick from for the rest of the year, to me that is the best combo. The reason for that is the way Boyd plays and the way Metcalf play. I think they're very good complements. I think Metcalf's sort of speed, sort of X factor, whatever you want to call it, his passing game, complements Boyd's steady, good kicking game, likes to run a straight line, dig in, and all the rest of it. However, Metcalf doesn't want to play 6. He said that he wants the 7, right? Which, right. So there's a problem, and straight off the bat, and it seems to me that the rest of the team wants to play with Chanel. Right, and you can't ignore that. Right, if the forward pack wants to play with Chanel, because they're like, that guy is he's gonna, like, if you see your 6 go and fold a front rower, right? You can't get off that field having dogged it, can you? Really?
He's one of the boys. Once he starts doing that, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's one of the boys.
He's one of the boys, and then you've got the injury thing, right? So for all those reasons, I don't think you can put Metcalf at 6. He doesn't want to be there. Chanel seems to be a bit of the spirit animal of the team, and Chanel's performed well. And so, given that, if Chanel's 6, then who's the better 7? And I reckon that is a real 50-50 call if Boyd can maintain this form. Metcalf in his like, if you look at Metcalf's form last year, I think it's better than what we've seen from Boyd over his career. But I reckon what we've seen from Boyd this year is better than what we saw from Metcalf last year, if you're looking at what is going to win us a comp. So long-winded way of saying Boyd and Metcalf can shoot it out, and I agree Chanel's at 6, but not because that's the best halves comp, just because it just seems to be what the players want,
Yeah. And I reckon you could look into, because both Boyd and Chanel are off contract, aren't they, end of this year?
Yeah. So they're going to make some calls real soon.
Yeah, so whoever they play is going to be who they think's going to be at the club next year out of the 2 of them, isn't it?
Well, if Perth Bears sign those 2 now.
No, I mean, what if it is both that are picked by the Warriors, but you've got this, long-term Metcalf sitting in reserve grade, but maybe they do resign both.
Yeah, that's true too.
Damn it. Fonz, we've got about 2 minutes. I'm wary of losing you for this meeting before. Before
I can roll 5 minutes after. Yeah.
Sweet. Just wanted to get your thoughts, and particularly just before Teamless Tuesday, what do they do in the centres? Because that was probably the most impressive we've seen for some time. Constant problem spot. My biggest bugbear of the club lineup was the last decade plus, and Roger made a great fist of it. Ali, I thought was really encouraging, and then we got Pompey. Probably, well, he's out for another week. We know that, suspended. Berry's still a long way away. Chan's an option, with Tame playing pretty good. So what do they do there?
Okay, so Roger was an absolute revelation. I mean, he spent a whole year at centre and didn't play that good back in.
That was what we thought we were going to get when he was switched there, and we loved that option, but it just didn't turn out that way.
But I'm not sold on Loffy on the wing, so he went well on the weekend. everyone went well on the weekend. I'm not convinced he's the guy who's going to do that for the next 20 weeks. So, yeah, sorry, mate. Go.
Would there be an argument? Do you reckon they would ever think of swinging Tane out to that wing and Chance to the back?
He did it last year for a stint and did fine. I don't hate it. Yeah. But no, so the answer is when Pompey's fit, he comes straight back into centre, in my opinion. And Roger goes back to the wing on that side. And I think Ali hopefully has had the kick up the arse and he's your right centre. And that's where you go. That's what I would do.
Pompey needs to pull finger week to week, but rather than just meandering along and producing a piece of brilliance every now and again because he's naturally gifted. I just never really feel like he's got the attitude to be like what we saw from Roger the other night.
I don't think you would have seen that sort of energy if he was on the paddock with them last week. I reckon he would have been an outlier in that team. He just I don't know if it's just the way he carries himself, but he doesn't ever seem to look like he's putting much effort. But this is coming from a guy that played Ripper last year as well, so we're expecting him to have another massive year.
But again, I still feel like we accept less from Pompey because of his style or something. I don't know. It just never sat that well with me. The team lists are in, boys, so
let's have a look.
Share that. And
you got them before us this week.
Yeah. First time for everything. And looks like we've got pretty similar lineup. Boys, Tane Tuapiki at fullback, down Watini Zelezniak and Lofi Camprera on the wings, Roger and Ali in the centres. Chanel Harris, DeVita and Tanner Boyd has been named, obviously subject to that injury. The forwards, James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan, Jackson Ford. Luke Alasema, Kirk Capewell back from injury. Good stuff for Aaron Clark at lock and an interchange of Sam Healy, Marata Niukore, Dimitri Vaimonga, Jacob Laban. And so who does that leave out? Tennis Smith is out injured. Luke Hansen, who's, I guess the likely replacement or chance for the number 6 or for the halves, I suppose. Eddie Miatava in the 6-man interchange reserves, Morgan Ganning, Chance, Mitch Barnett.
It's an out of it reserves list right there.
Jeez. So I guess if Boyd is out, I guess first question, Fonz, if you have to shoot soon, if Boyd's ruled out, are they going Chance to 6 and give Chanel the keys at 7, or bring in Luke Hansen, who was good on debut? They're both, Hansen again is more of a 6 than a 7, but probably with Chanel as your other half, you might want more of a kicking game and a playmaking now that Hansen brings, maybe.
Personally, I'm going Chanel over to the right. I know it's annoying. Chanel over to the right in 7 and Hansen into 6.
Do you reckon Chanel can handle the defensive change better than Hansen would?
I mean, Hansen played on that left side at 6 1 week earlier in the year. I'd just keep it simple. Just say do what you did that other time, and Chanel probably better place to do it, but it's a bit of a reshuffle. Don't like it.
It's only the fucking Titans, those boys. Hey, right?
there was there's a few people plumping for a Jet Cleary debut, and obviously he's more of a natural 7, but I don't quite feel like it's the platform for it. Just too much attention. What's
Mitch Barnett doing? What's he doing sniffing around?
Also he's only he missed 2. When did he got injured against the Tigers? So he's only missed the 2 games. It was a broken thumb, wasn't it? Jeez, he's tough.
I think so.
Just rip like Chris Mortimer in 1989 for Penrith. Just rip the pin out and go and play in a semi-final.
Any tougher he'd rust.
So interesting to see. If he would come back and if they would, who they would bump. Niukore. I mean, I would, but the Newcastle-bound Niukore. I was surprised to see the outpouring of gratitude and we'll miss you to Niukore. Honestly, I can't wait to be rid of that contract. To be honest, he's got his different pluses, but he was in great first 15 minutes, and then ruined it all by falling off a tackle, giving away a penalty for a lazy high shot and then was hooked. I just think it's time to move on.
Yeah.
When we've got so many good forwards, you know, stop picking on pay packet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yep.
that's a fair
No,
shout.
I agree with that. And what's going to happen? Okay, so Kate Wells there. So Halasima will get subbed for Laban, presumably. Interesting, he's starting Halasima rather than starting Laban.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laban's been
Laban
good, man.
He did such a good job coming off the bench, though, Laban. Maybe they sort of like that. I wonder who he comes on for. Maybe Capewell. You know, Lecker played 80 last week. Maybe Capewell just gets eased back into it with a solid 30 and then bring Laban on, see what happens.
Yeah, maybe.
But then,
like Capewell being back.
So does that mean Murata's playing middle, or are you subbing both edge back rows?
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're going to keep playing Jackson Ford for 80 minutes, they can afford to carry 2 second rows on the bench, I suppose. But yeah. Otherwise, you'd say Niukore's kind of there as both, cover for both.
He loves it. He's like a border collie, just gets flogged. Absolutely flogged, old Jackson Ford, and he just comes back, tongue hanging out, panting, ready for more. Lunatic.
But Clark's not playing 80, so someone's going to have to sub both Fish and Clark. So I reckon that's not the bench. I don't think.
Well, maybe it is a Barnett return.
Maybe it's a Barnett return. Barnett does 30 minutes subbing for Fish in a comeback game. And
dropping Murata.
Yeah, drop Murata just out entirely. Yeah. That's what I reckon.
Yeah, I like that. And what do you reckon they're doing with Chance? Or what are they doing?
Well, yeah, if he's, you know, like assuming he's fit, is there, and he's not required in the halves, is there a late change that totally reshuffles that back line or comes straight in for Tane or?
If it's CHT and Boyd in the halves, I've got no problem with drought-breaking. And if our forwards are going to play like they've been playing, because just to explain that a bit more, like the reason Chance was always a favourite for me for fullback was because for the last 10 years, basically, we've been a club who's a prop short. So we rely on our back 3 yardage to get us going. And we've been a club with a lot of ball players. You know, you had Tohu ball playing out of 13, you got Sean, then you had Metcalf and CHT, who are both sort of sixes, Egan ball plays. So I just want someone just defensively sound, bigger body, running it straight from fullback. But if you look at this team, it's a lot less like that, right? So Tanner Boyd, fairly structured 7, Chanel kind of organizes his left edge pretty well, but he kind of keeps it pretty tight and within his space. And then there's a lot of ball playing potential in that forward pack. But, you know, I look at that team and go, actually having a link fullback who's ball playing kind of makes more sense here. So I've got no problem with taking it on this configuration. So I just think Chance possibly doesn't play.
That's a nice way to explain it, actually. The forward pack's actually taking away the need to carry that insurance at the back,
and that forward pack gives you more of a motivation to have a ball playing fullback. In saying that, and that's obviously been the reason why I've been, you know, plumping for Tane so hard. I thought that in that department it was one of his more disappointing games against the Storm. You know, bomb try obviously didn't. Yeah, it just seemed a little clunky chiming into the line where he set up a couple of tries against the Sharks. But yeah, loving his cover defensive efforts. Good to see Camprero get another go. Roger's ball carrying as a centre. That's what I'd love to see with at least one of whoever our, you know, eventual permanent centre combination is. I feel like our centres have been a bit light on carries week to week for a long, long time. And, you know, you see Herbie Farnworth rack up, you know, close to 200 metres a game. Paddy Herbert comes back and runs 150 metres for the Tigers and the centres. A lot of teams have
it's a superstar position, isn't it?
Well, and and it can be a workhorse position. That's why I thought that Chance at centre would work, because he'd just transfer those metres to the centres, but he just hasn't really. He's sort of, you know, whether it's a game plan or, you know, he's more comfortable doing it on the first or second tackle or whatever. but he, you know, he from fullback, he takes those carries all through the set. So it's always been a bit baffling that he sort of hasn't been as hungry when he's in the centres. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'd be, as you say, Fonz, be surprised if this is unless Boyd is fit. With some change to 17, or even without Boyd.
Boys, I've got to jump. You guys kick on. I'll just leave you.
Yeah, have you just had high tea delivered there? It sounds like a lot of sauces and cups. It's like you've got some cakes and that on some. Meaty my ass.
But I was just going to say, I don't know if Ali's got the motor, mate, to be kick chase and yardage carries and
totally.
He's a big boy too. That I don't think that's his fault so much. Like he probably could get a bit fitter, but geez, he's a big lump of a lad out there, isn't he? It's a lot. He
seemed more of
a kid.
He seemed a deterrent to the Storm as well. The other, you know, the stats were unimpressive: 7 runs or something, bugger all meters, and 9 tackles. But he seemed a deterrent. Like they didn't. It's not like they were targeting him.
Out there.
Yeah, and you know, great grab for that try for Dallin of the bomb, and you know, powered over for one to kickstart things. So
yeah, but let's be honest.
For Ali.
But you're right, you're giving a bit away and having them out there sometimes.
And let's be honest,
but it's kind of like Berry.
The Storm can't play, mate. They're not very good at rugby league. All right, catch us later.
Never done anything. See you, Fonz. Cheers, brother.
Shall we get with it in? So Titans, who have they got? We haven't touched on them well.
Yeah, so the Titans are coming off a 52-10 win over Parramatta. It's the biggest away score they've ever posted. The only time they've scored more than 50 points in a game other than that ever in their 19-year history was that 66-6 win over us on the Gold Coast. So they really exploded, albeit against the worst defensive team in the competition, the Eels. But it was the Titans that I love to watch, the Titans that, you know, when they're on.
It's entertaining, isn't it?
So good to watch. And it was the first time this year that Josh Hannah has been able to unlock that attack. Maybe it was because it was Parramatta and they're defending so poorly. They scored 4 tries from outside 70 meters and running through the lineup.
Did you watch this game? Did you watch that game in the weekend?
Yeah, I did watch.
How many times did we get told Jaden Campbell's a new father? Jesus.
It was Damien Cook being a beach sprint champion territory, wasn't it?
It really was. Holy hell, they were just about beating the clock there at one stage, I reckon.
Keanu Kinney at fullback, he was sensational against the Eels and had me concerned. He's just so electric and he was just tore them apart. Sialatili Faimani, he is a newcomer on the wing and he was good also against the Eels. Jojo Fafita and Adam Brimson working well in the centres. Phil Sami had a blinder, the Dragons bound Phil Sami. He scored one of those long-range tries. Lockie Ilias and Jaden Campbell, a bit of reverse jersey numbers, but a bit of Chanel and Tanner Boyd about this combination. I thought they, you know, Jaden Campbell's such an, you know, brilliant natural talent. Player.
Yeah.
But when he's paired with Brimson or, you know, one of those other sort of halves that isn't quite a traditional half, the ratio struggled a bit. Yeah. Ilias is your really steady, good kicking game, and it's unlocking Campbell, I think, or it did on the weekend. Forward pack of Curtis Morin, Sam Verrills, who had a good game against the Eels, Big Tino, Fa'asua Malaawi, Adamahau, who's had a couple of blinders this year, both Fermor, thread on the edge, Chris Randall, and an interchange of Oliver Pascoe, Cooper By, Mikey Fodawaker, Adam Christensen, 6-man bench completed by Jalen de Groot, and Zane Harrison, reserves Cleese Haas, Josh Paxton, and Jensen Tamapayao. So unchanged, I believe. Yeah, no changes to the 19-man squad at all.
I reckon we just shut our mouth about this because we've been burnt by this Titans team. I reckon shut it down, turn it off, end the podcast because this team burnt us the last few seasons. What's some of the latest ass kickings we got off these guys?
So we've lost 6 of our last 8. They've won against the Titans. which I'm doubt they have a record like that against anyone of late anyway. They've won their last 3 at Mount Smart. They came here, remember Anzac Day a couple of years ago, and it was our first Anzac Day game. We got out to a 12-0 lead, would start the season well, thought we were going to flog them, and then Tanner Boyd actually had a cracking game, and we lost 27-24 last year. Again, first 2 tries we scored, and then lost 24-16. It was a baffling loss, that one. The Titans were in all sorts of one of their last 10 or something ridiculous. We beat them later, only like 4 weeks later on the Gold Coast, 32-18. To boost a bit of confidence, but haven't beaten them at Mount Smart since pre-COVID, so it's a little concerning. There's that 2022 when we had those late season games in 2022. Tanner Boyd kicked a golden point field goal, so good to have Tanner on our side this time against the Titans. Point to prove for Lofi Khan Pereira after he couldn't get a run for them last year. He will be ready to explode.
Oh, that's interesting. Do you want to hear about the weather?
Yeah, what's happening?
So Saturday, 5 o'clock kickoff, 5 p.m., not a.m. Yeah, p.m. Yeah.
That seems like a more crowd-friendly, TV-friendly time slot.
5 a.m. Imagine they're out there in the frost Saturday morning at Mount Go Media. But anyway, 5 o'clock kickoff. This doesn't looks like a shithouse day. It's sorry to anyone getting along there. Strong northerly wind, 29 gusting to 70 odd.
Whoa.
Yeah, 19 degrees of a couple of mil of rain during the game time. So it could be wild. There'll be those little triangle pad things blowing across the field. That will happen.
Well, I actually prefer this one because the Warriors have looked quite good in some wet weather at home this year for a change. It seemed to be a bit of a bugbear playing at a wet Mount Smart. We couldn't get the wins. Have done so this year, but also it lessens like the Titans like a hard, fast track, good conditions, open game. If we can turn this into a slugfest, I think we'll
so we're hoping this will slow them down a bit because they've always been a quick team across the field, haven't they? So hopefully this can slow them up a bit, at least for 40 minutes. Just a howling gale blowing in their mush.
Yeah. Ruin Kenny's confidence with some spiral bombs in the breeze.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was ridiculous last week, and if their kick chase gives him the sort of leeway that Parramatta did, he'll carve us up.
Short legs, eh? Hard to tackle. Real long body, short legs, so it's hard to drag him down. Out of it,
but I'm excited for this one on the back of last week, and I feel like it's a really important one for us to win. We sort of go back more than one step. It's worse than just a loss if we lose this one at home to a Titans team that, however great they were last week, have been pretty ordinary on the whole. Got to get this one.
We were looking at it pre-show. Just looking ahead to what we've got ahead of us too. It's a good little period to actually stack a couple of points here, isn't it? Like with the teams we've got them. Am I correct? These guys at home, then the Dolphins in Wellington, and then we're off to Sydney to play the Eels.
Yeah.
Is that how it runs before the next bye?
Yeah. So we really should be, banking 3 wins here.
And that never pans out, but this is what we're projecting. Perfect world.
So leading into a round 10 bye before Magic round trip to take on the Broncos in Brisbane, which can be enormous either way. But if we can get wins in the next 3 games, it really sets us up in a pretty even comp with some overachieving teams and in a big log jam. So I'm excited for this one, Brad. We've got a few.
It's a great time. This is probably my favorite time of the weekend for football. 5 o'clock on a Saturday. That's still takeaway option meal Saturday. Sunday you're always doing home cooked, but this opens the door to a good takeaway on the couch. Nice time of day, and the game's finished, and you can still get a couple of things done before it's bedtime. So I love this time slot.
What do you reckon the odds are, Brad? I'm going to throw this one to you. What do you reckon we're looking at? I won't look at it just yet.
I'm terrible. I don't even know how they. I reckon we're maybe $1.60 to their see, I don't know. Is it math that works
About
out the next one?
250.
280? 250?
Yep, 250, 240.
Oh, yeah.
I
Why
think we're
would you
going to
put any
be.
money on the Titans at 240? It's not worth it.
I think we're going to be more like 125 to 375, 380. And just looking at it, $1.30 favourites, the Warriors. Titans might get a few people interested at $3.60.
360.
Point
Fuck, that's
start
a
of
good point.
11.5 points, which might be worth thinking about the Titans if you're, bet with your head type, given those conditions.
If you're putting it on a multi, you'd probably go that, wouldn't you? Putting this game.
Total points line of 49.5 might fall under that in those conditions, despite what we've seen.
Getting early
the
on
general
that with
trend
my
there.
weather forecast.
Yeah.
Definitely. You heard it here.
Great stuff. Yeah.
Geez, you're really leaning into that buffer, aren't you? The moustache, the little slug you're carrying. I noticed you just come in from team list, and I've got you quite big on the screen. What's your plans with that on your face there, Will?
Just trying something different.
Go profile. Go profile. Is it sticking out Ned Flandery at all? Not
a
yet.
little bit. It's not quite that. I don't want to let it get that long. I think that's our good friend Tim Gore said looked like Tom Selleck, and that's exactly what I was going for.
I thought you were going. I was thinking more Flanders.
I think, probably it's going to end up like that. Anyway, Brad, I wanted to. We've got a PlaceMakers, Warriors, legend
time. Righto, who you got?
Yeah.
So who did I miss actually? Take me back to the last two previous
we
weeks.
Had Kieran Foran last week on the back of on the back of his debut.
Relevant.
There.
That's relevant.
And then the week before we had who do we have the week before? Maybe were you here for Phil Blake?
No, I think it was Phil Blake. I think I seen it. Who's this kid? Is that Ignatius Parsi?
Yeah, it is Ignatius Parsi. So I've chosen Big Ignatius because he is one of only a couple of players to play 50-plus games for the Warriors and the Titans, along with Nathan Friend being the other one. I believe they're the only two. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. Big Ignatius was a Warriors under-20 star, played one game for us in 2014, and I don't really recall too much about it. We lost to the Bronx, actually at this game at Suncorp Stadium, funnily enough, living there still. Then joined the Titans and made his name there. Bustling.
Good player.
Yeah, good footwork, silky skills. Could play prop, seeker, roll, or lock. And just a bit of a game breaker. I love this type of player. Probably don't see too many of them running around the NRL as much. It's more, even in the Fords, it's more your athletic types. But I love watching him play for the Titans. Played 53 games, 2015 to 17. Then returned home in 2018, part of a big recruitment drive on Steve Kearney's side. And he played a very underrated role, I thought, in us making the finals, ending that 7-year finals drought. Had a big year, 23 games. I reckon most people would be surprised that he played that many, and that was after missing the first two. So that means that he didn't miss a game from when he came into the side of round 3. Permanent front row spot. He started every game from round 4 at prop. So,
Started.
Impressive. Yeah, started at prop in 22 straight games from round 4 until they got knocked out of the finals. Yeah, so, and you would have thought we probably needed something a bit more than Big Ignatius to turn things around from where the club was at. Him and Adam Blair, the combo, dynamic, could find his way over the line, and just good footwork. I remember watching. I was actually at this one as well in Brisbane, and just ripped the Broncos apart with a couple of line breaks. Big cheerful guy, cornrows, the whole bit, cult hero. And I'm a big fan of it. He's still playing at St. Helens in his 6th season there. So
that's good to know.
Still going hard. He's still only 34. Tongan rep, I believe.
That's a nice jersey.
Yeah, it is. That must be.
What is that?
He played through to 2020. I think he was one of the guys that went home during that first COVID season, I think. So his last game was in round 10 against Cronulla. But yeah, good servant for 2.5 seasons with the club, and then headed to Super League, where he's still plying his trade for a strong St. Helens team. And our Warriors PlaceMakers legend for this week.
Good. Good. PlaceMakers.
Just on our PlaceMakers supporters there, Brad. They've got the Legends lunch. They've got one before the Christchurch game, and they've got Gordon Tallis and Kevin Walters coming over to host. That's going to be at the new One New Zealand Stadium. Sean Johnson, Stacey Jones are going to be there. I think, tables are 10.
Any other big names?
No one confirmed. I'm sure we're going to see some. Well.
What about any local podcasters or anything like that?
Maybe. Yeah, we'll be there, Brad. Just booked your flight yesterday. Yeah, you and I will be getting along to that one. And so I'm very excited about that. Probably even more excited about coming to the more traditional Legends lunch up in Auckland for ahead of the final round game against Parramatta. So the Legends lunch is on the Friday, and the game's on Saturday against Parramatta. And they had the first one last year. PlaceMakers Warriors Legends lunch will be at that one as well.
Oh,
be a lot more Warriors alumni there, and we'll be getting in their grill, making pests of ourselves, no doubt.
Busy. I'm going to be. I'm all over the show this year. I'm still trying to get to Fear Factory in Auckland at the end of May. Still trying to decide whether I'm going to get to that concert up there, which would be an absolute.
Doesn't the game, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's standalone. It's hard to talk my missus into coming along to Auckland to Fear Factory.
Well, it's a bit of a hard sell. Don't have many power ballads, old Fear Factory. Do
you want a quick funny yarn? Do you know what I done today? I've Odie's back into rugby season, and the call went out. I can't remember if we spoke about this on the show, and that we've gone and
might have brought up on Friday beers, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was, but time to step up and help the coach out because he's been doing it by himself. So I'm assistant. So Odie needed new boots. So I went and brought some boots for the first time in probably, how long would that be? Like 25 years buying football boots, which I was pretty stoked about. Like having an excuse to own football boots again is quite cool. But I was standing there and I said to the kids, I got all excited to put my new boots on. I was like, right, out on the lawn, put your boots on, boys. We'll have a kick around. And while I was waiting for them to sort their shit out, I was sort of just on the lawn looking down at the profile of my boot, sort of just giving one off, sort of just rolled it over on the side a little bit to look at the instep and lost my balance and rolled my ankle and gave it a good tweak. Stationary. I was stationary and I rolled an ankle. So I've got this little tender ankle from checking out that's how hopeless this body of mine's become. Geez. It's incredible, yeah. So I reckon I'm the first ever man to do it stationary. Hopefully I'm wrong. Someone prove me wrong. I'd love to be proved wrong on this, but that's pretty that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, we've got to work on that, Brad. What was I going to say? Yeah, I'll put the link up to those Legends lunches if you're in the market for those sort of events. I think table of 10, $2.5 grand or something like that.
Table of 10. Who do you reckon we're sitting with?
I don't know. Yeah,
well, do you reckon we just got our own set up a bar stool or something? 3 bar stools, and the third bar stool's for us to eat our lunch off of.
We'll bet they'll have a little trestle table set up near the entrance to the toilets, probably for us.
Looking in through the window.
It's like, you can get a photo with Kevin Campion, then get out. No, I'm sure they'll treat us very well. It'll be a great event.
We'll be carried in. We'll be carried into the fucking joint.
Yeah,
they know what's good for them.
No, can't wait. Not too long as well. Just want to touch on that, Brad. You said no games coinciding with the Fear Factory concert. This game this weekend is our last game at Mount Smart until round 13, which is June the 13th. And then that's the last game at Mount Smart until round 18, which is July the 18th. So for after this week, for like almost 3 months, we've only got one game at Mount Smart. So it's a challenging period.
Is one of them counting the game in Christchurch that we're heading to?
Yeah, the Christchurch.
So we do get it.
Yeah, but it's just not the same as sleeping in their own beds.
You're dead right. You're dead right, Will. You've been you're spot on.
and they've
just not
got
the
three.
same. It doesn't. The seats don't smell the same. Because I always give your seat a bit of a wipe with your hand in the sniff before you sit down. And it's never the same.
They got 3 buys in that period though, which it's a funny old draw. This one they got 9 straight games, then a buy 3 games, buy 3 games, buy, and then 9 games. So it's a very symmetrical draw, but it's
How many games to finish? Did you say?
9
After the last
9
bye?
straight.
Oh, so is it 9 either side of those blots of 3?
But after the first and last buys, we've still got to go to Suncorp 3 times, and the Gold Coast. They may as well rent a couple of houses in southeast Queensland. They go in there that often. But
they'll probably just stay on. Isn't Robbo over that way? They probably just stay on his lawn in a few tents under a fly.
Yeah. Oh, the tents you can get these days.
Yeah. You get a good bushbuck fly. Just the fly.
Totally.
Right. Have we put in a shift? Or what do you got left?
Well, I just really want to touch on Paddy Herbert's debut. Such a great story. My favourite Warriors first grade debut of all time. Had again another Titans, former Titan as well. Had some ups and downs there, and hadn't played at all in the NRL for 3 years. Wasn't really even playing at all. Had an Achilles rupture, I think. And then Benji just gives him a call, train and trial in the squad. Club debut on Sunday, has a blinder, freakish try assist, great try. It was one of the great stories.
How Paddy Herbert was that debut for them too. The failed gridiron dart into the ground, the crazy passes. Even that first try he got, he dummied like what ended his career at the Gold Coast. He done it again, but it paid off for him. Luckily, this time that he got over the try. It was it's just he's so off the cuff and he's so Dallin-like. Almost way worse.
And he suits that Tigers team, freewheeling.
Yeah, he does.
Just all effort. Ed Cossey as well, 4 tries for South Sydney and New South Wales Cup on the weekend. Moala Graham Telfer grabbed a try as well. But he scored 4 tries in a row for South, which was cool to see.
Out of it. Is Lussick getting any game time at Penrith?
He played against the Storm and scored a try. He came in for the suspended or injured Mitch Kenny for a week, but dropped out.
Okay. Yeah. And what about any other Warriors floating around that we lost last year? They getting any?
Kalani Goings had a couple of first grade games with Penrith. I don't think we've seen Tom Ale in the top grade yet.
Yeah.
The Bunty Afoa still waiting for his Tigers debut. And about Joseph Payne said he did his ankle in his sleep, so that's probably slightly worse. Although you get tangled up in a sheet and anything can happen.
It's horizontal. It's not even weight bearing. How do you do an ankle when you're not bearing any weight?
Brad, do you have time for the other segment that we promised, which was our mate,
Tysky, literally bottling a win.
Show. Yeah, doing it. Do we have time to?
Let's dive through that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Philip Beebe said situ 2 at the Dragons as well. He came back into the team and scored a try and lost to Manly.
Got a good try actually.
Now, do you want to do the explainer of this, Brad?
No, you do that. I'll just stumble over myself. But this is I'll introduce it. This is my mate, friend of the show, very good supporter of the show, Tysky. He's at home, a home brewer, which is a bit different to the old days when your old man's mate home brewed and just bottling frigging grenades in the shed. There's a bit of science involved these days. But how's this? He's literally bottled this wind. I think if you read through what the ingredients and explain that now, Will, this is a lot of effort and it's quite a cool thing to do.
So as you can see, and obviously you can't see this if you're listening just audio, but his brew is called the Citrus Down Storm. It's a New Zealand Pilsner, 5.4%. All grain, dedicated to the Warriors 38-14 win over the Storm on the 11th of April 2026. Now, the hop schedule inspired by the match, each edition, this is so cool. Each edition aligns with the time a try was scored, with gram weights matching the scorer's jersey number, plus the final score represented in dry hop editions. So you can see that there, if you can see it, the list here. The bittering, he's got, so 2 grams for Dallin's try, and 10 grams of Jacko Ford is so precise. And I mean, hopefully it doesn't mean that it tastes terrible because he's had to follow this so stringently. But yeah, I think Tysky knows what he's doing.
And he won't actually have 23 grams of Leotoa, will he? Like, is it solids or fluids?
The toenails and hair or something.
Full witch's cauldron, just brewing the shit.
So what's the world? What is that? That's the bittering. What does the whirlpool mean? We're going to have him on Friday. We're going to have him on Friday beers, by the way, for our paid subscribers. So he'll be able to explain this in more detail. But yeah, the whirlpool for Niukore and Leotoa, the dry hops. So day 0, I guess it was on the day, 14 grams for the Storm's final score, and day 3, which I guess was yesterday or today, 38 grams for the Warriors' final score. He'll be brewing that up, and then he'll be knocking the top off one in a week or so.
We might have to talk him into seeing if we can release one, print up a label that we could gift out to one of the fans. Gotta be, surely. Come on, share the love, Tysky. Yeah, but this is going to be interesting. So Friday beers, that's what we've got to look forward to. Tysky's got a couple of other brews that he's put down with just as rad as ingredient sort of selection lists. So yeah.
Speaking of extra content, Brad, we're going to be launching a bit of a pre-game episode. I'll let you know where this is going to be. I haven't decided what the best, if we do it here, YouTube and all that, or just Substack, but it will be free for all. And it's just a nice little addition to your game day program. We've got Joel Harrison lined up as our first guest. You might not know Joel, but he's making some inroads. Is he like a bit of a producer type over with Triple M in Sydney? He's a Kiwi boy, big Warriors fan, big Kirk Capewell fan, and fan of our show, and good bloke. But he's been on James Graham's Buy Round podcast. So he's pretty big time.
No, he's of ilk, and he was actually on the field during that try of Johnson. He had some brilliant footage of being on the field during all the shenanigans. But so no, he's going to join us game day just for 20-30 minutes, just how we're feeling, what we're thinking we're going to do for our game day, how we think we're going to view it, and just a general catch
late mail if there's any, and just really get you a bit more fired up. It's like you can't, even a 5 o'clock kickoff, you're just trying to while away those
tell you the truth,
hours.
Listeners. Once Will starts paying you $18 a week, all of a sudden he's really trying to wring as much as he can out of you. So Brad's been holding game day now as well as Friday and Tuesday.
You're not just you're not going to be stealing a wage, Brad. You're going to be working for it, mate. Bevan Donovan has said he strained a knee ligament because he was too lazy to get out of his chair and pick up a pen, and too lazy to swing the chair around the right direction. I can see that. I can see myself doing that, doing something super awkward for a menial task like that. Bevan is a great supporter of the show. I'd say he's probably our most engaged person on Substack, and love your work, Bevan. Long time listener of the podcast and consumer of our written content.
I could stay all night and talk to you about rugby league and the Warriors but I'm going to have to go do something. I'm sorry, my friend. Yeah, no,
good as gold, mate. Thanks for putting in a big shift. Thanks to everyone that's joined in the live chat. Everyone that listens to it, whether it's live or later on, our paid subscribers, jump on our Substack if you can pony up for a paid subscription. Much appreciated. There's heaps more extra content, including our Friday Beers episode, some preview and post-match, especially the stats piece is for our paid subscribers. We'll always have the player ratings and this main episode of the week free for everyone. So, don't get too...
And me and Will keep joking about our lack of Instagram support. So prove us wrong and chuck it on there. It's an ongoing joke between me and Will.
But this is bullshit, actually. There's more people what do we need to do? There's more people listening to the podcast every week than we have Instagram followers. So stop what you're doing now when you listen to this. Go and follow us on Instagram, for fuck's sake. Also, click subscribe on the YouTube. It doesn't take much effort at all. It's no skin off your nose. Just go and do it. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. Really appreciate all the support, all the engagement. comments.
Yeah.
Collingwood's the paid subscriber live chat during the game is the place to be, isn't it, Brad?
No
There's,
shit. That is the
brainy...
it's like the Koru Lounge of Warrior Game chat.
Yeah, it's worth the upgrade. But yeah, brainy, funny, passionate people. Just having their 2 cents worth. It's a good time. That'll probably do us though, Brad, won't it?
Yeah, sick man. I'm hanging out for a hoon.
Yeah, sweet. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm pretty happy with this episode. Just quietly, Brad.
Cheers, Julo, bro. Cheers, brother. Pumped.
Kingz Container Crew, of course. Thank you so much. PlaceMakers, and anyone else that's supporting us.
All right, come on. It's getting like an Oscars speech. The music's going to start soon. They're going to shuffle off stage. See you later, bro.
Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.